Have you ever wondered how cold fronts, warm fronts work? Well, you come to the right place. We're going to get more and more detailed every single day until I run out of things to talk about. One of the things to understand if you want to understand fronts is air masses. So air over land is dry air, and we call that continental air. Air further south is warmer, so we call that tropical air. And air over water is maritime. You can see that even further north. Air that's cold, we call that polar air, and air extremely cold, we call that Arctic air. Cold fronts are simply advancing cold air, and there's more vertical extent to the clouds. That's why severe weather is more possible along cold fronts. Cold fronts can have a little bit more moisture in them or a little less moisture depending on where they originate, over land or over the sea. Warm fronts are advancing warm air south to north, and they're generally less sloped than cold air masses, so more steady precip rather than heavy precipitation. Warm fronts also move slower than cold fronts. We mentioned why that's important in part 2, but first, let's relate it to the weather today. Notice how there's a cold front overhead, but not too much of a difference between the two air masses. That's why the weather is not ultimately crazy rainy today, just a little bit of rain.